Hello friends, this is Scott, and I made it down to the hobby farm with the last of the wall block to finish my retaining wall project, at least this one. I've got several I've got to do, but today's video I'm going to show you how to split these wall block with just a hammer and a chisel. And it's a very simple process, but I've had some of these that were very simple to break and others are a little bit more tough, so let's see how we're going to do today. This is just a concrete just made with there's no aggregate in it. That's why this technique works, because there's no aggregate. What I mean is rocks. So yeah, if you had a bunch of big rocks in here or thick rocks, then this would not break even. But so what you want to do is you just want to score the brick. So I'm going right down the middle. And because I'm just doing a 7-row wide block, I should be able to, split it in half. And because I have total control of how wide I want this wall, I shouldn't have to split any bricks any different than just in half. So you want to stagger seams. So that's why I'm doing this. You never just stack block on top of block without covering a seam. So I'm going all the way around this block just to score it. And I'm not hitting it hard. I'm just, again, just getting a little bit of vibration through there and kind of drawing a line. And I am going to do on all 4 sides because that's important. I'm going to show you when I do another one here why that's important here a little later in the video. But even the front face, which is a little hard, it's I got to line those scores up, and this one I did a pretty good job. But again, I've hit these blocks, fewer times and had them split right open. So it's just you just never know. And these blocks have been sitting outside for a couple of years being used, and so that may have something to do with this one being a little tougher. But then once I have it all scored all the way around, I start hitting a little harder and just keep on that score because I want a nice even cut. Because again, the sides will be exposed on this wall, so I want them to look decent. I don't want there to be big chunks out of them or not having them split even. So yeah, I'm just going around and I'm just giving it a little bit harder hit now, just until I get this thing to pop. And it's being stubborn. It's not going to be easy, but again, this is probably the worst one I've ever done. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal. But you're not hitting it hard. I'm just scoring it, and I'm just hitting on the edge. And I usually don't break them on the edge, but that one broke. As you see, that's a pretty perfect cut, though, a pretty perfect split, nice and even. So that's what I want to see right there. So it takes a little time, but then I start looking at my wall, and I'm wondering, why is this wall not balanced out? And there's the problem. When I first built the first layer, I used a block that I'd already cut, or I already broke on a previous wall, and yeah, it's shorter. So that's why I was wondering why things did not fit. So I was thinking, I can fix it. I could just move things around and blah, blah, blah. But at least I was building another wall to the side so I could just move the block from one wall as I deconstruct to the other wall. And then I decided I would try it with a smaller little split, and I did that. And then I'm looking at my seams, and yeah, it just does not look good. And so, yeah, I decided I got to redo this wall. And I'd already backfilled it, so that's going to make it a little bit tougher just to, I'm going to have to move some dirt. I've got to repack and re-level and do all those fun things. So yeah, decided as I built up the other wall, 6 high, I decided I was just going to tear out this one and just redo it. So getting down to the block that's a problem, and I'm going to rip that one out of the wall, and I'm just going to start over. And there it is. And I'm sorry I got the camera turned wrong there, but yeah, I had already split this one, didn't realize it, so it wasn't a full block. So there, after I edited out all the re-leveling and swearing, and so now we're back to what it should be, which is 7 blocks wide, and they're all full-size blocks, made sure this time. So here we go again. I'm going to show you how to split the block again, and I'm going to show you a little mistake I made on this one, and so you got to get an idea of how important it is to score all the way around the block. So as usual, I'm starting on one side, and you see that little lip there. I'm going to go ahead and use the lip on these because I want the wall to kind of stagger back, and that just hooks into the back of the lower level of brick. When I do the other walls in this yard, I'll use bigger block, and I will knock those lips off because I don't want it to be, I want them to be straight up and down. I don't want the lean. So I'll show you that a little bit and what I'm thinking about a little later in this video also, going down to the back door. But again, I'm just scoring all the way around. At least that was the plan. And I'm not hitting hard. I'm just trying to make a line so I know where I'm at. So when I do start hitting harder, I'll be lined up and make sure I do a good job. But it is hard sometimes as you're splitting these to get a perfect line all the way around the block so they line up. And when I'm looking at this one, it just didn't quite line up. And so, yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm going, okay, let me do the edge. and I'll start scoring this one a little bit. And I'm hitting on the end, and I'm the line again. I'm thinking, they're not lined up very well. So, let's see. I'm not going to do it. So I'll just go back to the main part of the block and just hit it around the other three sides and see what I can do. And you'll see my mistake at the end of this as it splits. There you go. And as I pull it apart, it's not a clean split. You see there's a little lip on the bottom there where I did not hit it. That was the one spot I did not even tap, and that's what you get. So you got to score it all the way around and take your time so you have nice looking splits. But got the wall leveled and built back up, and then I'm looking at this side, and I got it 6 levels tall, and I'm thinking that's too tall. That doesn't look good. I wanted to be level with the existing concrete wall at the bottom of the yard, but I decided just to go 5. So I took 1 row off, put it back on the first wall I was working on there, and I think 5 will be good. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good at this point. Again, I need to figure out how I'm going to retain the soil on the sides of the walls or the planting beds, and I'm going to use just rock. I've got plenty of big rocks, so might as well just use those up the side. And as you see there, I've got that one I did not pack, luckily. That was the mistake I made on the first one, is don't pack any walls until you have it done. So anyway, so I'm back to the big pile of rocks that I've been screening out of the old big pile of dirt. And I'll fill some in a wheelbarrow, and I'll use that as the base. Again, I made a mistake in a previous wall at my house with culture, which is using sticks and organic matter and behind a wall, and all that material broke down and it weakened the wall, and so the wall kind of leaned back a little bit. So a couple wheelbarrows full of rocks, and I've got it nice and sturdy, so it's not going anywhere. And then I got to come back to the old big pile of dirt that's now the excavation point that I'm building a in-ground patio here, kind of a little patio once I get enough of this dirt moved. But, as you see from my original videos, I've moved a lot of dirt, and I still got a lot to go. But I'm not screening this material because, again, I just want all different sizes of rocks and particles. I wanted to fill in the gaps between these bigger rocks. So I just that's the first wheelbarrow full. And I think I used 2 or 3 on this one just to get it packed in. And, again, I'm going to be building this bed up, but I want to have better material. So I'll be screening the big pile of dirt, make sure I have loose material, and I'll make that bed fairly level. And then I've got a little bit of a dip here, and so it'll always be good for drainage, so I'm not too worried about it, but I want to make it so it's a little bit more level. So I got a few wheelbarrows of dirt just to level this out a little bit. And then I'm thinking, you know what, my next project was going to be the chicken coop build, which I'm going to put right there next to the coop. But then if you look at the ground there, it is not level. So I think I'm going to start another retaining wall project just to get some more dirt. I might as well do 2 jobs in one. But here's a look at the backside, and I did grab some bigger rocks just to kind of start out with, and I'll add a few more and just build that soil up. And I'm doing it on both sides, even by the roses, so that'll keep the dirt from just filling in the roses. But I did dig out the dirt along this pathway, and again, I need to do a retaining wall because the problem I'm having is a little bit of basement water issues, and the issues are because all this dirt's sloughing off and it's clogging the drains. And there's a little drain there. Now, when the previous owner had a daughter that was in a wheelchair, the church came in and built a ramp, and so they poured some concrete, but it's all sloping toward the house. And I'll show you here a little bit. So any water I get on this sidewalk is coming down toward the house, and if those drains are clogged, it's coming right in the basement. So I've got to redesign this whole drainage system when I do the other patios, and I've got to figure out what kind of drainage I want to do on this side. I don't know if I'll do any. I'm thinking of doing like a 3.5-foot wall and then a terrace for a garden, and then set back a little bit and then build the wall up again. So it's not just one solid wall like I'm in a corridor. I want it to be some usable space and look a little better and have maybe some herbs planted there. So I think I'm going to be digging out some dirt. And on this side is where I'm going to have to do the drainage. And again, that sidewalk is sloped right to the house, but I can dig this out deeper here, and I'll just reroute the water when I add a bigger drain and maybe bust out some concrete, and then I'll drain it toward the back wall. But I need to dig out a lot of dirt so that I have the proper grade. So anyway, well, that's the wall project for now, and we'll see where I end up here in the future. Well, thanks for watching this video, and if you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. I really need your help. Thank you.